Mm-mm.
All right. Good evening, everyone. We're going to start this evening's meeting with a public hearing. Oh, I should ask first. Are you prepared?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. We're going to start this evening's meeting with a public hearing regarding the rezoning, potential rezoning of 6 properties along Old William Penn Highway.
Mr. President, the municipality was petitioned by 3 of the 4 property owners, 3 property owners owning 5 properties there. The 4th property owner has no objection to the rezoning. That property is in between the ones that had petitioned for the rezoning. These properties are located from the corner of School Road and Old William Penn Highway and Route 22 and the get-go. They're currently zoned mixed use, and they're petitioning to be rezoned to be commercial.
All right.
My name is Charles Hugenroder. I'm an attorney, and I represent the 3 petitioners in this action.
Thank you.
The first one is the Lutheran Church, which now owns the old P&C Bank. Second one is the former car dealership, used car dealership. And the last one is Standard Bank, which is now owned by Dollar Bank through their merger. 3 of those uses are going to cease. All of those uses were prohibited uses in the mixed-use zone. Once the use ceases, if it's not picked up for a year, the use goes away. And that's where we are with the car dealership. The PNC Bank, now owned by the Calvary Lutheran Church, they want to change that into a meeting hall, a daycare. That would be a prohibited use in the mixed-use zone. The car dealer is under contract for someone to put in a high-end car wash. That would be a prohibited use. And the final one, I talked to Dr. Leancona. He's fine with this. Actually, he was going to file an application, but because the 3 of them did, we felt it was extraneous. Jim didn't think it was necessary to file it. The final one, Standard Bank, has been sold now to Dollar Bank, who has a branch right across the street. They're going to abandon the use of the Standard Bank. They don't know what they're going to do with it yet. So all 3 of them all of those would like to be classed as a B. Half the block now is B, and the other half is mixed use. Why that is, we don't know, but it only makes sense to be consistent and have everything in that block a B zone. You have that map?
Yeah, I'm looking for it now, Chuck.
There you go. As you can see, the get-go, and then there's the auto parts store, and then there's the drugstore on the corner are all B. As you come up, you see the 6 parcels, which are 4 uses that are now mixed use, all of which, as I say, are going to change, and they'd be prohibited in the mixed use zone. So it makes sense to make it all a B zone. Across the street, you see that you have the telephone company, and you have Giant Eagle. So that whole area is more of a B use than it is a mixed use zone. And if you go across on Old William Penn, what is that? Across the
School Road.
School Road, yeah. Across School Road, that's the Calvary Lutheran Church, and then there's some other one's a small home that's owned by the Ferry Land Company. It's some type of an office. So there's no rationale to have these as a mixed use rather than a B. Anybody have any questions or anything that they'd like to discuss further on it?
For the record, Mr. President, this petition was presented to the Planning Commission at their last meeting. took public comment, of which there was none, and the Planning Commission recommended that council consider approval of the rezoning request.
Okay. Does anybody in the audience have any comments, questions? No. Yeah, and this is I guess for everyone. This is something we've been looking at for I think years now, and I think asking the same question of, you know, why is that zoned like that? You know, it's the function of the land has turned into, as was mentioned, more of a business application, more of a business district application. So, yeah, seems to make sense.
Which also goes along with that. All of these properties have access to old 22 and new 22.
Right.
I think the original thinking on the rezoning was that there are, I believe, 2, if not 3 residents on the north side of Old William Penn Highway at the time when the municipality went through a rezoning effort. And they were trying to, I believe, accommodate those existing property owners, and then the R2 district immediately behind there, which is the dark blue.
I think 2 of those uses have ceased, haven't they, Jim? One was they were trying to turn into the American Legion,
That's correct.
and the other one, I think the woman has passed away.
I know that at least 2 of them are still residents. I think one's actually split up into apartments.
That's on the other side of 22.
Yes, that's
They're all
correct, on the
22.
north side
Yeah.
of Old William Penn.
I think it makes sense. We've tried to be extremely cognizant of the fact that we want controlled development and controlled growth because we want that potential commercial tax base, but we also don't want it spreading throughout the entire municipality. So I think it makes sense to look at rezoning this and keeping it right along the highway. So we have that commercial corridor, but maintain our residential areas and our rural areas throughout.
I think the existing businesses there too have kept up with those properties pretty well, and you know, I think it makes perfect sense for that all to be zoned in that way. So.
The original concept of the mixed use was to serve as a transition zoning.
Yeah.
Recognized that all along Old William Penn, you had a mix of commercial interest and residential interest along there. And that eventually certain types of commercial uses would be more proper along that stretch of road. And I think that at this point, those properties there have matured, and they've the function of the mixed-use zoning really doesn't serve a purpose.
Yep.
Okay.
I have no questions, that's all I have.
Okay.
Nope.
No more questions from council?
Nope.
All right, close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All right, public hearing on the rezoning of these 6 properties is closed. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Moving on to our regular meeting here.
I wouldn't worry about it.
Could I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Dice? Dr. Lee Corns?
Here.
Mr. Case?
Here?
Mr. Stepanovich?
Here.
Mr. McKenna?
He is here.
Wait,
He just stepped out.
oh, he stepped out. He is here, yes.
Here he is.
Mr. Spadaro?
Here.
Ms. Brockway?
Here.
Mayor Simon?
Okay, please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any unlisted amendments this
No,
evening?
sir.
Consent calendar items. We have our November 3rd, 2021 meeting minutes, accounts payable, and our cash investments and transfers. I have a motion to approve the consent calendar items.
Motion to approve the consent calendar items.
Second.
All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, approved. Mr. Morrison, do you have any comments for the mayor?
Yes, I do. 'Tis the season. Santa at Sardis, December 4th from 2 to 4 p.m. That's Sardis Park on Rocky Hill Lane. We were in hiatus last year, but the year before it was a nice event, had a bonfire, lots for the kids to do, and so we're picking it back up this year. We encourage families to carpool because of limited parking up there, and bring along a chair to enjoy the bonfire. During that same day, we're going to have a gingerbread house contest sponsored by the Recreation Department and the library. All individuals and groups and businesses are welcome. Must be constructed of edible material and not be any larger than 12 by 18 by 18 high. Must sit on a sturdy board because it gets moved around and bumped and touched and everything else. So if you want some more information, go to the Murrysville PA Recreation.com site, or you can call here at 327-2100, extension 131. Voting will occur at the event for $1 per vote and will benefit the Murrysville Community Library. Next, we have a hot chocolate hike planned Saturday, December 11th at 10 a.m. at the Westmoreland, or at Morrissini Reserve by the Westmoreland Conservancy. It's roughly an easy 2-mile walk along their trail out there, and at the end of the hike, you get a nice hot cup of cocoa with marshmallows. And then finally, the Recreation Board, again in conjunction with the library, is sponsoring a reading of the Polar Express and a visit from St. Nicholas. And that's on Wednesday, December 16th at 6 p.m. at the Community Center. Again, if you want additional information, go to the website, and we encourage you to register because there is limited capacity at the Community Center. And that's it for the mayor's report.
Okay. You have any comments on behalf of yourself?
Just quickly, 2 comments. The Southwest Regional Planning Commission is sponsoring a survey of residents in the 6-county area that they serve. And this survey deals with broadband and internet service. And it will be the forerunner of identifying programs to take advantage of the American Relief Funds to extend and to improve broadband service in this region. We have posted the background information on the survey and a link to the survey on our website. And I would encourage all residents to go there, take the survey. We receive a number of calls here, people thinking Comcast, we control the Comcast internet. We do not. We only control the Comcast cable, vision, or TV. So if you want, if you have concerns with the internet service, I suggest you take the survey and become participants as we move forward. I think it's vital. I think a community like Murrysville, we have not only homes that demand a lot of broadband, but we also have a lot of individuals who are working from home and need high-speed internet as an alternative to traveling into Pittsburgh. So I would encourage everyone to participate in that. And then this Thursday, tomorrow, George and I will be at a meeting concerning the property in Washington Township, or in Murrysville, that tried to get into the Washington Township sanitary sewer and was blocked by the Big Kiski sewer treatment facility. So all the parties are going to sit around the table and hopefully come to terms tomorrow with that. And finally, it appears the Fustings development may be back on track. So we'll see how that goes. That's it.
So Kiski blocked one house. They rejected one house. That's where, just to clarify.
Yeah. who has a failing septic system.
Right, right. Wow, good for me. All right, thank you. Have we had anyone sign up for community input? Georgia?
Hi, Bill.
Bill? Bill? Okay, thank you. Nothing. No. Okay. All right. Well, then moving on to our liaison comments and committee reports. Tony, you have anything?
They meet tomorrow night, but they canceled their face-to-face meeting because they have a COVID problem. So they won't be meeting in person for a while, and I'll see if I can hook up tomorrow night and see what's going on.
Great.
Planning Commission met last week, and as Jim had indicated, that they agreed and were okay with the rezoning of the properties that we just discussed.
Okay. Jamie?
Pension met today. We discussed reallocating some funds with a look to long-term health of the fund, and I believe that's actually going to be coming before council probably in December, which is a bit of a deviation from what we had expected previously. But it looks like it would be a good move for the pension board right now for long-term health, looking at reallocating to some private debt.
Okay. Tony?
Library meets tomorrow at 7.
All right. Mac?
The Parks and Recreation, we met on the 9th. Under the community input, Carly had a request for a bench placement at Skeena and Kelman Reserve by the pond. There was a little bit of a lengthy discussion just on where that could be placed and where placements in certain parks are. We're going to have our park patrol, because we have a set up for certain people in certain parks to patrol those, to kind of plot out areas that are suitable for bench installations and just kind of get more uniform for that so that we can have them in the right spots for those. Rec report, Jim kind of hit a few of these. The trick or treat on trail obviously went very well. All the stuff around Halloween really went well for those. We have the Santa with Sardis he had mentioned. Then there is the one other thing. Oh, the neighborhood parks survey is pending. There's going to be postcards that come to the residents that that live in the neighborhoods that have parks. That's going to be Bear Hollow, Chambers, Heritage, and Kovalchik Park. So that will come in conjunction with the Sampson Norris Group is helping provide support for that survey. So everyone, please, if you live in those and you see those, please return them with your comments on them. And then it also has where you can go online to a website and do it as well, so or you can send in the card. But just please keep an eye peeled for those. And it's going to be real important that we get feedback just so we do the things that people want in those parks. So that's it.
Okay, thank you. And I have nothing to report for EAC. So moving on to our workshop items, under 9A. We have a discussion concerning amendments to the Murrysville Code, Chapter 47-31.
The municipality of Murrysville, as we all know, is a home rule community, so different to other state codes for boroughs and townships, our civil service is actually in the personnel policy. And it outlines how we proceed with the hiring of new officers. Well, recently, the state, through I believe it was Act 57, amended the requirements for hiring new police officers, which essentially centered around doing more extensive background checks by way of contacting previous employers to determine if there were any activities that occurred in the police officer's past employment that would disqualify him moving forward as a police officer. So in order to implement those requirements, MOPEC, which is the Municipal Police Officer Education and Training Commission, requires the municipalities implement these new regulations, and as a result, we have to amend our personnel policy, Section 47 of the code. I outlined the items that are impacted in the briefing, and to proceed here, we will develop an ordinance to be entertained for advertisement at the next meeting.
Okay. Any thoughts on that, council?
Just confirming, I know that you included in the staff briefing no additional impact on budget. So that means that even though there's more extensive background checks,
No, actually, what has to happen is, as part of the background check now, we do an internal background check as part of the policy. But we have to have specific questions addressed to previous employers.
okay.
So it's just a matter of getting the letter out, reviewing those. It still gives the local police department flexibility to hire if something turns up, but it has to be approved by MOPEC to have that officer hired. So unlike most of the stuff that comes down to the state, this is not an unfunded mandate.
It's good to hear. For now.
Chief Seefeld, in support of this, does he see any negatives
Yes.
to it? From
No,
his
he's
perspective?
totally in support of it.
Okay, all right, that's good. Okay, anything else? All right then. Moving on to 11A. Going back to the rezoning of these 6 properties we discussed at our public hearing. Any other information you would like to share, or any other questions that may have come up? Nope. Nothing?
No.
Okay.
So this will be incorporated in an ordinance to amend our zoning ordinance and the official map of Murrysville. So this will come back at the next meeting.
And thus far, we haven't heard anything from the residents that are nearby.
No, neither one of the public hearings were attended. I will add that as required under Act 247, we had the 2 public hearings that we were required. We publicly advertised and notified property owners within 300 feet of the proposed rezoned properties.
Great.
They were notified, good.
All right, so under our action items, 13A, could we have a motion for 13A, please?
I'd like to make a motion to consider approval of ordinance number 1049-21, an amendment to the fee ordinance.
Second.
We have, this was addressed in October. It's now ripe for passage. The items that were addressed in the fee ordinance were increase in the pavilion and gazebo fees, the community center, and adding the clubhouse, which we're hoping to be operational in December. And an increase in the building permit fees for anything, any construction of commercial buildings or R3 group buildings over 20,000 square feet.
Okay, and that's, and that one thing I noticed in there, it says this does bring us in line with the
Neighbor.
nearby communities, so that's
That's correct.
not an unreasonable increase. It's
Yeah.
what it takes after, what, two brand new furnaces in the community center.
Yeah.
There's a cost to operation.
And a third one on its last leg.
Is it? Yeah. Okay, any questions for council?
No.
All right, roll call, please.
Dr. Lee Corns?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mr. Stepanovich?
Yes.
Mr. McKenna?
Yes.
Mr. Spadaro?
Yes.
Ms. Brockway?
Yes.
Okay. Motion is approved. All right, moving on to 13B. Could we have a motion, please?
I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance number 1050-21, an ordinance that provides for the demolition of dangerous structures in the municipality of Murrysville.
Second.
Second the motion.
Jamie and Tony.
The original ordinance, as mentioned previously, was passed in 1967. There were some updates with the property maintenance code. What this ordinance does is it sets out a procedure for identifying and actually saying that these structures are ripe for demolition. It then puts the responsibility through public hearing and through testimony of the building inspector on council to declare these buildings a nuisance and then eligible for demolition.
Okay. I think we've gone over this already, but any questions, council?
Just as a comment, I know looking through the support documents, it indicated there's responsibilities of council. And oftentimes we're a bit passive and look for the direction from the chief administrator. Would you be alerting us to?
We would actually advertise a public hearing, and at that public hearing, the building inspector will appear before council, give testimony as to why he believes the structure is dangerous, and then council would accept that, and that would give us authorization to proceed.
Is there, in this scenario, is there any, and I know we, by the time we'll reach that point, we have probably attempted to contact the property owner many times, but is there any type of appeal at that point?
The property owner has a right to appeal to the court through the administrative decisions. So he has a recourse there.
Okay. Okay.
There is a lengthy notification process
Yeah.
required before we bring it to public hearing.
Right, right. And I know we don't rush to that decision by any means.
That's our last choice.
Yeah, yeah.
Make a motion here.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Roll call, please.
Dr. Lee Corns?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mr. Stepanovich?
Yes.
Mr. McKenna?
Yes.
Mr. Spadaro?
Yes.
Ms. Brockway?
Yes.
You're funny.
Passes.
You know that.
13C, could we please have a motion?
I'd like to consider authorization to enter into a cooperative purchasing agreement with Export Thorough.
Second motion.
This is housekeeping. This will probably be the third agreement that we've entered into export. It essentially is required under the Intergovernmental Cooperation Act, where two municipalities can join together, two or more municipalities can join together and do the same as one could. We participate in our garbage and recycling contract with export, and also road materials and things along those lines. So.
Questions?
Export will be entertaining at their meeting in the 7th? First two? Yeah, December 7th, they'll be entertaining the agreement at their meeting.
All right. Roll call, please.
Dr. Lee Corns?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mr. Stepanovich?
Yes.
Mr. McKenna?
Yes.
Mr. Spadaro?
Yes.
Ms. Brockway?
Yes.
Okay. One passed. 15, under 15A, could we please have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to reduce the sequestered funds being held to ensure completion of the required improvements of the Hillstone Village development in the amount of $547,920.90.
Second.
This is the development out on Harrison City Road. This bond reduction is mainly for the utilities and the paving of the road, which have been completed. They're moving along quite quickly out there. Just as a side note, if you haven't been up Klein Hollow, they're moving very quickly on Villaciano also. Take a ride up and see what they've done there. There's going to be some nice lots in that plan up there.
All right. Under Public Works and Parks, can we have a motion for 16A, please?
Make a motion to advertise for sale of various surplus vehicles through Municipality, an online auctioning service for government agencies. Yeah, leave it there.
Second. Did we vote on the Hillstone?
Yeah, I don't think we.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Sorry for that. Moving quickly. All right, can I take a step back? So under 15A, we had a motion. Can we please have a roll call for 15A regarding Hillstone Village development bond reduction?
Dr. Lee Corns?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mr. Stepanovich?
Yes.
Mr. McKenna?
Yes.
Mr. Spadaro?
Yes.
Ms. Brockway?
Yes.
All right. Now, we had, Jamie had a motion. Moving on to 16A, Jamie had a motion. Can we please have a second? Okay, Mac, thank you. There we go. Okay,
Now, Bill.
thank you, Bill.
Good evening. This is our usually annual way of getting rid of some of the used surplus vehicles that we have. This year, they're very used up vehicles. The police vehicles, the ones that came from police, and one public works truck. The police vehicles were used an extra year than they would have been. They were nickel and diamond, chief, a little bit. A lot of engine-type troubles with those two vehicles. We bring them over to Public Works and we evaluate them. We will take the better of, we have 3 other municipal vehicles that we maintain. And what we'll do is we'll rotate these vehicles through the process. These ones were pretty easy. They were just to the point of we need to dispose of them at this point. They're going to cost us a lot of money. The Public Works truck, we took it off the road here in February. It has a subframe issue with the bed. I think it's towards the end, Jim. There you go. Unfortunately, it's got 60,000 miles on it. The rest of the truck is in pretty decent shape, but again, it's like your house. You got to start from the frame up, the block up, and this frame on this truck is a little bit to be desired. So we used it at the park all summer, and I think it's just time. The truck was appraised at $16,000 through a private vendor. I think we can get a lot more than 16 for it, so I think it's time to part ways with this truck also. So it's going to municipal bid, and hopefully we can make a little more money with it.
It won't pass inspection, is that correct?
That's correct. But this truck has some features that are kind of sought after. It's a pre-emission vehicle, so there's no computer on that truck. So somebody would want to part out or build another truck, that engine would be worth it to them. The dump body's in pretty decent shape, less the subframe. So I think that it's time to get rid of it. I'd like the permission to advertise these and move on. We have a couple surplus tools. Years ago, we tried to build pins and bushings for plows, and I think somebody else would be better used with that equipment too. I think we can recoup some of our money. I'd like to also get rid of that piece of equipment also.
Okay.
Questions?
Bill, the cars, are they inspected?
No. No, they sat all summer too. I was trying to get everything together before we sold everything here.
No questions. I just wanted to thank you for the awesome PowerPoint. It was nice to see that in our support documents and be able to see the photos and the explanations that accompanied each one.
Thank you. I got them in a little late, but
No.
it's a little easier to see instead of me trying to fumble through words. And
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
It helps.
it's nice to visualize it.
It helps.
Really.
Good.
Thank you.
thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other questions from council?
Just out of curiosity, like, as far as the auction, who's auctioning it on our behalf?
This would go through municipal bid. This is a multi-state online auction. Most of it is municipal equipment. So a lot of people buy the old police cars for taxis and whatnot. So you have people that visit that auction quite often, and they know what those vehicles are worth because they're purchasing a lot of them. So a lot of times you get a very good buck for them, and sometimes I think.
Do they take a percentage, the auctioning?
Yes.
Okay, what is that?
I'm sorry, Carl, I don't remember exactly what it was. It's been 2 years since we did it the last time. It's a very small amount.
I think it's 2%, but we can check.
That's small, yeah.
Yeah, it's an online bidding.
It just gets them in front of the right people.
Yeah,
mainly.
right. Well, everybody knows to go to that site.
Right. And we've had over the years, some of the local folks will come in, some of the residents, they actually come in as low bidders. So I'll go tomorrow, I'll write up an ad to send to the local paper, and they'll be able to bid, but they'll have to bid through municipal bid.
Usually items we sell in there usually sell for good money. considering the items, it seems like,
I
right?
think so. I think the police department had a very good auction this year with the motorcycles, so hopefully we do okay with the surplus.
Great. All right. Any other questions?
Well, we know the mayor's watching the meeting. He suggested that maybe, and it's a good idea, that the Franklin Regional Robotics team may be interested in that lathe.
Sure.
So we'll make contact with them.
Yeah, that'd be great. Be nice to see someone teach a few of our students how to use something like that.
Yes.
Be a good thing. Okay. All right then. No more questions? Thoughts on it? All right. We have a roll call, please.
Dr. Lee Corns?
Yes?
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mr. Stepanovich?
Yes.
Mr. McKenna?
Yes.
Mr. Spadaro?
Yes.
Ms. Brockway?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
All right. Moving on. Do we? Is there any old business?
No, sir.
Any new business? No executive session, I take it?
Next meeting will be the budget and some other items. So we'll have a few agenda items for next meeting.
Okay.
That's your nice
Be
way
as
of saying
fortunate
we're
as
prepared.
tonight.
Right. Great. All right. Then last motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay.
Good night, everybody.
Okay.